was. Last Friday on News 4 at 4, as former Congressman Brian Higgins clocked out on his final day in Congress, he offered that full-throated endorsement of State Senator Tim Kennedy to succeed him on Capitol Hill. Kennedy was also endorsed by the Erie County Democratic Committee last month, and now we're waiting on the governor to set a special election to fill that seat for the 26th district.
To tell us more about this process, right now we're joined by Jeremy Zellner, chairman of the Erie County Democratic Committee. Jeremy, thank you so much for coming in this afternoon.
Thanks for having me.
So where do things stand right now? How long does the governor have to call a special election?
Well, the vacancy occurred Friday, so she has 10 days to call that special. And we're looking at approximately, sometime at the end of April, could be the 23rd, could be the 30th that the special happens on. She's got to figure that out in the next 8 days now, 7 days to call that.
And so this is going to be a special election. It is for people that presumably live only within the 26th district.
Right.
Who will appear on that ballot? We know that Tim Kennedy will. Will anyone else?
Well, the parties get to each nominate a candidate, and then there's a time frame for candidates who are who want to be on a challenging ballot to create their own line. They have a short time to create their own line. But the primary process happens in June. For someone who would like to carry petitions, that process will be laid out as the calendar is adopted by the state legislature and signed by the governor, because the congressional seat is on the ballot this year.
Exactly. And so just to clarify, what the April special election would be for is the remaining term of Higgins' seat, which was 2024, this year, right?
The remaining term and the remaining term in that district. As we know, those lines are changing. They've got to be done by the 28th of February, and that'll be a whole new district potentially.
So we know the Democratic Committee endorsed State Senator Tim Kennedy. If you can, walk us through how the endorsement process works. What does the committee look at?
Well, now we have to endorse a candidate for State Senate to replace Senator Kennedy. And we're having a meeting next Thursday, the 15th, of our entire executive committee from the Erie County Party. We've had two folks ask for our support, April Baskin and Mitch Nowakowski, both outstanding elected officials, both great up-and-coming leaders with great experience in government, which is what we're looking for now, for someone to hit the ground running and take over for Senator Kennedy to help deliver those resources for this community. We'd like to have somebody who knows how to do that. Both of those candidates do that now, and we'll be interviewing them next week.
And I won't ask you for a selection at this point because the process has to play out. But, I mean, if you could, talk about how beneficial it is to be the leader of this party in this county and to have two young, up-and-coming, really aggressive politicians who really seem that they are stumping for their community. That's got to feel good to have two people.
It does, and this is a very difficult decision. It's like choosing between a brother and a sister for me. I have great respect for both of them. They both have really come up through the organization and have both led. The chairwoman of the legislature, she's the youngest ever to do so, and she has held that group together and worked with the county executive, and we're seeing growth for the first time in 50 years. Mitch Nowakowski has done a tremendous job representing his community. He's fielding calls from constituents on a daily basis. They both have very bright futures. We'll see what happens next week, and it's not going to be easy.
What are things voters should be paying attention to?
Well, they've got to watch this calendar. They've got to go to the Board of Elections website. The governor and the state legislature have to pass the political calendar. And then, we've got a number of elections this year. We're not even talking presidential yet. We've got the presidential primary on April 2nd, and our board staff is going to have to turn around another election within that same month. Then we've got a June primary, and there's even talk about a separate congressional primary just for Congress this year. That doesn't even count the November election. There's a number of things they could do to get involved, either if they choose a party or they can go to the Board of Elections. We need election inspectors. We need people to help.
And that is so important, to have election inspectors there on site on the days when people are coming to your local fire hall, your local school gymnasium, or what have you. Those are the people who put this election on. When actually first you said there could be a special congressional primary, would that be in September?
We don't know when that could be. 2 years ago, there was one in August. Because right now the redistricting process is pushing us into the petitioning process right now. So we may have a situation where we can't petition until later in the year and set that petition and the primary process up later in the year. So stay tuned. There's a lot happening.
Certainly stay tuned. As far as both Senate and Congress, what could, new leadership, what could that do for those communities?
Well, our fear was we wanted to make sure that, to the extent that you could, that Congressman Higgins' shoes were filled with someone who understands the government and understands our challenges. And we feel that Senator Kennedy is that person. Same thing with Senator Kennedy's backfill. He's the chair of the Transportation Committee. He's in every neighborhood of his Senate district. That seat is incredibly diverse. It represents the city of Lackawanna, South Buffalo, Cheektowaga, the whole east side of Buffalo. It's going to take a special person to represent it, and I think we've got two special people to consider.
Jeremy Zellner is the Erie County Democratic Committee Chairman. Jeremy, you are about to be incredibly busy this spring. Thank you for taking some time
Appreciate it.
out and being here, and best of luck.
Thanks.